Well, we all know for thousands of years, Indian yogis have been claiming the ability to overcome pain and injury through mind control. Now, we've all seen pictures of these yogis lying on beds of nails or walking across hot coals. Recently in California, I took part in a modern-day firewalk, and I can tell you this straight out. There's no trick involved. What you're going to see is the real thing. These 50 people have gathered together in the high Sierra Mountains of California to experience something you might consider strange. They are about to walk over a 12-foot-long bed of red-hot coals. They're taking part in a firewalking seminar. It's an exercise designed to demonstrate the theory that our minds have the power to overcome fear. I decided to join them, and I was determined to walk on fire with them.
There is no limit to what's possible for you as a human being. The only thing holding you back are your beliefs. And when you face that fire, whether you walk or whether you witness somebody else walking, realize that beliefs have crumbled.
Once you see how incredibly simple it is to walk on those coals without burning your feet, the only thing that will prevent you from stepping out on that coal bed is fear. If you can use the tools that we give you tonight and take that step through the membrane of fear and walk across the coals, the next time you experience fear, you'll remember what it is you did this evening, and you'll be able to do it again.
It's a chance to test where I am with my growth, and I figure if I can walk on fire, I can do anything, and I'm ready to do anything.
I'm not sure I'll do it, though. I'm nervous about it. I'm afraid to get burned.
My name is Jean, and I came to expand my consciousness, my awareness of the universe.
My name is Storm, and I came to learn.
Tony, I just came to visit, but as long as I'm here, hey, I'll find out what's going on.
Some of these people have walked on fire before. Some, in fact, are firewalking instructors. Others, like myself, had never attempted it.
Pain is something that I've experienced in my life enough to not be afraid of it so much anymore.
Would you have ever thought that you were going to be doing this in your life?
No, I didn't.
You say that you have not done this before.
That's right, I haven't.
And you don't think that you're going to do it this time?
I think I'm going to do it.
Why? Why do you feel that way?
I don't think I have enough courage to do it right now.
If you choose to walk on those coals, I want you to pay attention to your feet. Because if you pay attention to your feet, you will notice that the actual experience that your feet are having is no different than walking barefoot on a hot street in the summer. Or if you've ever gone to the seashore and you've walked barefoot on the hot sand, you know how hot that sand can be. When you walk on that hot sand, you walk with the intention of getting off. And that's how you walk on hot coals, with the intention of getting off.
We use the firewalk as a very dramatic example of how you can overcome the fear of taking a step onto live coals at 1,200 degrees. But now the medical community, the researchers of the world have started to look at what we're doing, and they say, hey, this may very well lead to profound implications of how the mind is influencing the body. And why isn't the body getting burned? And maybe there's some link between firewalking and remissions of cancer, for example. How is it that thoughts we run through our mind can determine what actually happens to the physical body?
I'd like everyone to take off their shoes and socks. Even if you know you're not going to walk, you just came to watch. This is the price of admission. Release your mind. See what you find. Bring it home to your people.
I didn't realize I was denying any of the fear that I had from walking over these hot coals until I actually got out there. And I was standing in this circle, and my whole body was shaking, and it wasn't just the cold. I could barely feel my feet at times. It was also because I was scared. The fire has burned for 3 hours. The coals are then raked out and pounded down to a smooth layer. At previous firewalks, these fires have been recorded in excess of 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. On this night, sleet and snow sifted through the mountain air. My feet might have been cold, but the fire was definitely hot. Sometimes people who firewalk end up with blisters or seriously burned feet. Most of the time, they don't. No one is quite sure why unprotected bare feet on red-hot coals don't usually burn. Is the mind causing some kind of chemical reaction which protects the feet, or is it something else? People who have studied the phenomenon have varied opinions.
I have seen so many ways in which the mind can influence the body. I mean, to the extent of producing death by suggestion or remissions of cancer, that I'm not going to rule out the possibility that it can also change the way that heat is conducted to the tissues and avoid third-degree burning, but I don't know that.
Energy flows from the embers into their feet, and it cools off the embers. And your feet warm up a little bit, but not enough to burn you as long as your feet are not there too much.
You know, whether it's belief in physics or whatever he wants to say. I still say that belief is the key there, and I think that is very relevant to medicine and healing.
So whether you feel the heat or pain in your feet may be affected by what you're thinking about, but that can't have any effect on whether you get burned or not, which is just determined by how hot your foot gets.
Well, scientists don't know why people don't get burned, and that's why we don't put that much emphasis on the firewalk.
You definitely see people who have a belief that they're going to burn, burn. And people who believe they're not going to burn, don't burn.
Everybody around me had gotten up and started walking through the coals, and I just said at one point, I'm just going to do it. I didn't even realize I was out in the coals until I was halfway there. And when I was halfway there, I said, oh my God, look what I'm doing. And it was only because I had decided to do it that I went through with it. And I walked through, came out, and then we looked at my feet afterwards, and I was surprised. It felt like I had burned myself. It felt sensitive, and yet the bottom of my feet were unchanged, and at the moment feel pretty good.
I didn't know whether my feet were hot or cold, so I just walked around, but I felt this elation, and this went, wow.
I said, well, you know, I can do it. 4 or 5 steps, I'll be across, and I did.
Great.
You know, it seemed like you waited until the very end.
I did. Everybody else got through and didn't go up in a cloud of smoke. So it was like when I got across and felt the cool grass, I thought, I don't have burned feet, and I can do anything.
It's now been about 2 weeks since I did that firewalk, and I really haven't decided actually whether there was something going on inside my mind or whatever that prevented my feet from burning. One thing I do want you to know, this is not something that you should try going out and doing without expert supervision. This is not a parlor game. You don't clear the stakes over and try and walk across your grill. Tomorrow, we're going to show you how hypnosis is helping some people overcome pain.
Pretty powerful stuff, Storm. Your feet were actually smoking in that shot after you...
When I walked off, I didn't realize it. They felt sensitive, but when I walked off of the coals, when I saw the film of it later, I realized that a hot coal had actually stuck to the bottom of my foot, and it was smoking.
I noticed that other people were looking straight ahead. You were looking down.
Well, he said concentrate on your feet, and you'll realize... I just looked down and said, look what I'm doing. I mean, that's hot down there, and I'm just walking through it.
But
it was pretty amazing.
The one last point, the last woman that made that comment, she said, I can do anything. That was interesting.
Well, that was part of what they had everyone do. At the end of the firewalk, everyone got a little card, and they wrote down the date on it, and they said, I walked across fire. I can do anything I choose to.
All right.
Okay, well, glad you got through all that unscathed.